Hello students, welcome back to my channel. As in the previous video, we have discussed the properties of the colloidal sol. There were 5 properties basically of the colloidal sol, out of which we have already discussed four properties in our previous video. And previously I told you that in my next video I am going to discuss the 5th property, which is electrical property. So let us begin with the electrical property. Now see, colloidal sols, they carry some charges. The colloidal particles basically, they carry some charges, either positive or negative. We know that these charges are necessary for the stability of the salts, isn't it? Like for example, lyophobic salts, when we were preparing, we were adding some charges, some electrolytes in them. Due to these electrolytes, the colloidal sol, lyophobic colloidal sol, became stabilized or stable, isn't it? So these particular charges or electrolytes are added, or these charges are necessary in the colloidal particles, so as to maintain their stability, so as the colloidal particles do not get aggregated together and form precipitate. Okay, now see, depending upon the charge, whether it is positive or negative, fine, depending upon that, I told you positive or negative. Okay, so depending upon the charge, the colloidal sols are being classified as positively charged colloidal sol or negatively charged colloidal sols. Okay, now from where this means origin of the charge is there, okay, that is on these colloidal particles, from where this particular charge is being originated, या कहाँ से मिलता है. So for that, a very important reason is there, okay, that is, it is due to selective adsorption of ions. Fine, that is, the colloidal particles, they selectively adsorb some ions on their surface, due to which the particular sol can be called as positively charged sol or negatively charged sol. Okay, now see, selective adsorption, how does it happen? Means if a particular colloidal particle is there, ठीक है, तो it will adsorb selectively which type of ions, वो कैसे decide किया जाएगा? So for that, there is a theory given. I'll prove it with example also. First understand this point. Dispersed phase adsorbs. Dispersed phase means the colloidal particles, okay? They adsorb only those ions preferentially or preferably which are common with their own lattice. ठीक है, जो कॉमन आयंस होते हैं कोलॉइडल पार्टिकल्स, उन्हीं आयंस को एड्सॉर्ब करते हैं सेलेक्टिवली जो कोलॉइडल पार्टिकल्स के लैटिस से कॉमन होते हैं. ओके, आई गिव यू द एग्जाम्पल फॉर दैट, सो इट विल बी वेरी क्लियर टू यू. ओके, सी, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वी हैव AgNO3 solution and we have Ki solution. Okay, I am adding AgNO3 solution to Ki solution. That is, we can say now AgNO3 is what? Dispersed phase. Okay, because I am adding AgNO3 to Ki, and Ki is what? Dispersion medium. That is solvent. ये excess में होगा. Okay. So when AgNO3 is added to Ki, we will obtain precipitate of AgI. ठीक है, सिल्वर आयोडाइड का हमको precipitate मिलता है. Now this silver iodide precipitate we are getting, okay, or we can say silver iodide के colloidal particles बन जाते हैं. फाइन, अब ये जो colloidal solution होगा वो कैसा होगा? Whether it will be positively or negatively, that will be decided by this particular theory. Okay, देखो अभी, अब यहाँ पे dispersion medium के ही ions excess में होंगे, तो कौन कौन से ions हैं यहाँ पे present excess में? K प्लस आयन होगा, I माइनस होगा, फिर AgNO3 में से Ag ने प्रेसिपिटेट बना दिया तो NO3 माइनस आयन्स भी होंगे. ओके, नाउ अब कोलॉइडल पार्टिकल्स को जब एड्सॉर्ब करना है कॉमन आयन, तो कॉमन इनके ओन लैटिस से कॉमन आयन कौन से हो गए, या तो Ag प्लस या फिर I माइनस। ठीक है, इनके लैटिस में दो आयन्स हैं, ये जो कोलॉइडल पार्टिकल्स हैं उनके लैटिस में दो आयन्स हैं, Ag और I, Ag प्लस और I माइनस। तो यहाँ पे Ag प्लस या I माइनस में से कोई आयन ये एड्जॉर्ब करेंगे। ठीक है, अब कौन सा एड्जॉर्ब करेंगे, दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द क्वांटिटी। तो एक्सेस में कौन सा है, I माइनस है, Ag एक्सेस में नहीं है क्योंकि वो डिस्पर्स्ड फेज है। तो I माइनस आयन जो है दैट इज इन एक्सेस बिकॉज इट इज प्रेजेंट एज द डिस्पर्जन मीडियम। ओके, सो this particular colloidal particles, they will have the tendency to adsorb which type of ions, I minus ion, because they are the common ions with their own lattice, and we will obtain a negatively charged sol in this case. Is that clear? Okay, this point. डिस्पर्स्ड फेज एड्जॉर्ब, डिस्पर्स्ड फेज जो है वो सिर्फ वही आयंस को प्रेफरेबली सेलेक्टिवली एड्जॉर्ब करेगी जो कॉमन है उनके खुद के लैटिस से। ठीक है, और हमेशा वो आयंस जिनको एड्जॉर्ब करना है वो होने चाहिए एक्सेस में, तभी एड्जॉर्ब होगा। अंडरस्टूड? सो वी विल ऑब्टेन अ नेगेटिवली चार्ज सॉल ओवर हियर। जो बाकी के आयंस हैं ये कहाँ पे चले जाएंगे, इन द डिस्पर्जन मीडियम। ठीक है, क्योंकि ओवरऑल जो कोलॉइडल सॉल होगा वो क्या होता है, न्यूट्रल होता है। ठीक है, दैट इज वाई। सो दीज विल गो इन द रिमेनिंग आयंस विल गो इन द डिस्पर्जन मीडियम। ठीक है, अब देखो एक और केस हम देखते हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ वी आर एडिंग, हम यहाँ पे अभी ऐड करते हैं KI सोल्यूशन को इन AgNO3। ठीक है, हमने पोटेशियम आयोडाइड को AgNO3 में ऐड किया। तो KI इस केस में क्या है, डिस्पर्स्ड फेस, और ये है डिस्पर्शन मीडियम। अगेन द प्रेसिपिटेट फॉर्म विल बी ऑफ AgI, हमें AgI के कोलॉइडल पार्टिकल्स मिलेंगे। यहाँ पे अब एक्सेस में कौन कौन से आयंस हैं, Ag प्लस, NO3 माइनस और I माइनस। ठीक है, ये वाले आयन को हम हटा देते हैं, जैसे यहाँ पे हमने इसको हटा दिया था क्योंकि ये क्या था, डिस्पर्स्ड फेस था, लिमिटेड क्वांटिटी में था। यहाँ पे दो आयंस जो ज्यादा क्वांटिटी में एक्सेस में वो कौन से, Ag प्लस और NO3 माइनस। कॉमन आयन कौन सा है, Ag प्लस। सो इन दिस केस द कोलॉइडल सॉल विल एड्सॉर्ब Ag प्लस आयंस ऑन इट्स सरफेस एंड देयरफॉर वी विल गेट व्हाट, a positively charged sol. Okay, I hope it is clear. Due to selective adsorption of ions which are common with their own lattice, this particular we will either obtain a positively charged sol or a negatively charged sol over here. Okay, now let's see the theory of electrical double layer. See, we have seen that when AgNO3 is added to Ki, so when you are adding AgNO3 to Ki, here AgNO3 is what, dispersed phase, and Ki is dispersion medium. So we were getting a negatively charged sol because iodide ions, I minus ions were getting adsorbed on the surface of AgI. So this layer, the first layer which is forming on the colloidal particle surface is called as the fixed layer. Okay, so here this will be what, fixed layer. Fine, fixed layer. Now this particular fixed layer, that is the layer of iodide ion, have the tendency to attract the oppositely charged ions onto them. Okay, that is here, which are the oppositely charged ions present in excess, K plus. So now this fixed layer will have the tendency to adsorb K plus ion onto them. Okay, K plus ions onto them, oppositely charged ions onto them, and this layer is, this is fixed layer, and this K plus ion layer will be called as the mobile layer or diffused layer, mobile or diffused layer. Okay, so this is only the theory of electrical double layer which was given by Helmholtz scientist. According to him, when a solid comes in contact with a liquid, this colloidal particles will be solid, and liquid I am telling, that is electrolyte. Okay, When a solid comes in contact with a liquid, it preferentially adsorbs one type of ions on its surface. ठीक है, जैसे यहाँ I minus ions adsorb किए थे, which were known as the fixed layer. Fine. And to counterbalance this charge, ये जो iodide ions का charge था, इनको counterbalance करने के लिए oppositely charged ions are attracted to the surface to form double layer of charges. Okay, and this second layer is called mobile layer or diffuse layer, and these are known as the electrical double layer because they are charged. Okay, now due to the presence of charge, they will have some potential difference. There is some potential difference between the fixed layer and the mobile layer. Okay, and therefore that potential difference between the fixed layer and mobile layer is known as zeta potential or electrokinetic potential. Okay, zeta potential or electrokinetic potential. What is zeta potential or electrokinetic potential? It is the potential difference between the fixed layer and the mobile layer present in the colloidal particles. Fine. Now, this particular theory of electrical double layer explains certain electrical properties of the colloidal particles, etc., which we will see further. Now see, we know that the colloidal particles, they consist of charges. Okay, so to find out or to prove that they consist of charges, there are two phenomena. Or we can say the electrical properties of colloidal particles can be explained by two phenomena. Okay, so when you apply an electric field in the colloidal solution, then there can be two phenomena occurring. One is electrophoresis or electroosmosis. In simple terms, you just remember, see what I have written. Electric field, on applying electric field, either what will happen? Electrophoresis. Electrophoresis is movement of dispersed phase particles. ठीक है, dispersed phase particles that is solute particles. And electroosmosis is movement of dispersion medium. Fine. So when you are applying electric field, either you will observe electrophoresis or you will observe electroosmosis. Fine. Now we know colloidal particles, they consist of either positively charged particles or negatively charged particles. When you apply electric field, the positive charged particles have the tendency to go to the negative electrode. On applying electric field means we are taking two electrodes, positive electrode and negative electrode, isn't it? So when you apply electric field, the positively charged particles will go and accumulate over the negatively charged electrode or negative electrode, and the negatively charged particles will go and accumulate on the positive electrode. Fine. So let us see in detail first of all what is electrophoresis. Okay, as I told you in brief, electrophoresis is what? Movement of dispersed phase solute particles, okay, colloidal particles, and electroosmosis is movement of dispersion medium particles. Fine. So now let's see electrophoresis in detail first. As I told you, what is electrophoresis? Movement of colloidal particles, movement of colloidal particles to oppositely charged electrodes under an applied electric field. Okay, see, for example, such an apparatus will be taken. This is a U tube. Okay, as such a U tube will be taken over here. In this, we will fix, in both the limbs we will fix platinum electrodes. ठीक है, what we are fixing? Platinum electrodes in both the limbs which are connected to some battery. Okay, positive and negative terminal. Now fill this U tube with the colloidal solution. Colloidal solution is filled over here in this U tube. Now what you will observe when you will apply the electric field, okay, then what you will observe that the positively charged particles will move towards the negatively charged electrodes. Okay, positive particles are moving towards what? Negative electrode. Okay, positively charged particles will start moving towards negative electrodes and get accumulated over there, and negatively charged particles or negative particles, they will move towards positive electrode and get accumulated over there. Okay, which shows that yes, the particles, colloidal particles, bear some charge, okay, which can be either positive or negative. Fine. Now this particular electrophoresis process is used to find out that what type of sol it is, whether it is a positively charged sol or negatively charged sol. By the movement of colloidal particles, how, in which direction they are moving, we can easily find out. Okay, so this is electrophoresis. Now second method was electroosmosis. Now see, by any method, if we are stopping or we are preventing the flow of dispersed phase, that is the colloidal particles, solute particles, then the movement of dispersion medium will start. Understood? Once again I am repeating, listen carefully. Electroosmosis now I am talking about. Okay, the second method. What I said, electroosmosis is the movement of dispersion medium. Okay, so by any method, if you prevent the flow of this one, that is colloidal particles, then the dispersion medium will start flowing. Again the same way, positive, if the dispersion medium is positively charged, it will flow towards negative electrode. If negatively charged, it will flow towards positive electrode. Okay, and that process, that is the movement of dispersion medium under the applied electric field, okay, that is known as the electroosmosis. Fine. Now let's see coagulation of colloidal solution. See, when small amount of electrolyte is present in the colloidal sol, it provides stability. Okay, because we know when we are preparing the colloidal sols, then we are adding some electrolyte, small amount of electrolyte. Fine. But if by any way the charge is removed, then the particles will get coagulated. Why? Because see, when on the particles the charge is there, okay? For example, this is a colloidal particle, these are colloidal particles, on them some charge are there. For example, positive charge is there like this, isn't it? All the particles will either have positive charge or negative charge. So what will happen? They will repel each other. These colloidal particles will repel each other, and because of which they will not get accumulated, aggregated and ultimately precipitated. Okay, but by any way, if you remove the charge on the colloidal particles, then they will get accumulated and ultimately precipitated, isn't it? And therefore you can define coagulation like this: phenomenon of precipitation of colloidal solution by addition of excess of an electrolyte. Okay, I'll explain you how this excess of an electrolyte is called coagulation, also known as flocculation. It is the same thing only. See, for example, I have a colloidal sol. Okay, if I add excess of electrolyte in that, small amount of electrolyte is already present. If excess of electrolyte is there present, then what will happen? The colloidal particles will absorb the oppositely charged ions and get neutralized. Okay, let us take the same example. For example, this is the colloidal sol. Let me draw it little bit this is a colloidal particle. It consists of positively charged ions. Okay, when the colloidal particle is the colloidal sol is basically a positively charged sol. So the colloidal particles will have positively charged ions adsorb over them. If you add excess of electrolyte in them, then what will happen? These particles will absorb the oppositely charged ions on them. अब ये क्या absorb कर लेंगे? Negatively charged ions. Because of which the positive and negative, they will get what? वो neutralize हो जाएगा effect, and hence the colloidal particles will get aggregated, accumulated and ultimately precipitated. Okay, so we say the coagulation of colloidal sol will occur. Fine. So if you are adding excess of electrolyte, that excess of electrolyte will lead to what? Neutralization of the charge on the colloidal particle, and hence its coagulation or flocculation. Okay. Now see, the coagulating tendency of different electrolytes is different. We saw how they coagulate the colloidal sol, the electrolytes coagulate the colloidal sol, isn't it? Now the coagulating tendency of different electrolyte is different. Actually the coagulating tendency, it depends upon the valency of active ion. Okay? Again I am saying valency of active ion. Active ion means the ion which is causing the coagulation. Okay? So what is the valency of active ion? That will determine that how it will, what is the coagulating power of that particular electrolyte. Okay, so on the basis of that, that is to find out what is the coagulating tendency, one rule was given which is known as Hardy-Schulze rule. Okay, the rule was greater the valency of flocculating ion, greater will be its coagulating power. Simple rule. Greater the valency of flocculating ion or the active ion, greater will be its coagulating power. Okay, and this the next thing is very simple, that is the ions carrying the charge opposite to that of sol particles are effective in causing coagulation of sol, isn't it? Like for example, if the sol particles carry positive charge, so the ions which are negative charge will carry out proper coagulation of this positively charged sol, isn't it? Fine. So let us see the example. For example, if we want to carry out coagulation of a negatively charged sol, so this is the decreasing coagulating power of the ions. Like highest power will be for aluminium because its valency is 3 plus, then magnesium 2 plus, and sodium it is plus 1. That is why. Okay. If for positive charge sol, so we have taken some negative ions, you can see again this is in the decreasing order. Okay, this ferrocyanide ion, it will be having the highest tendency, then phosphate, sulfate and the chloride ion. Okay, now see, there are some other methods of coagulation also by which we can carry out the coagulation of colloidal sol. Like first one is by mutual precipitation. In mutual precipitation, if we mix two oppositely charged colloidal sols in equimolar proportions, then they will neutralize. Okay, they will react and neutralize and hence coagulate. Okay, equimolar mixture we have to take. Second one is by electrophoresis. We have studied what is electrophoresis. If you carry out electrophoresis for a longer interval of time, okay, then means what will happen, or we can say in case of electrophoresis, when these we know on applying electric field the particles move to the colloidal particles move to the oppositely charged electrodes, isn't it? So if they go and touch the electrodes, they will lose their charge. Okay, and hence they will get coagulated. Fine. Third method is by persistent dialysis. We know what is dialysis. In dialysis, we remove the excess of electrolyte which are present as an impurity, isn't it? But if you carry out dialysis for a longer interval of time, repeatedly, then what will happen? The traces of electrolytes will get removed. Okay, whatever are required traces of electrolytes are required to keep the lyophobic colloids or these colloidal solutions stable. So if you carry out persistent dialysis, repeated dialysis, then even the traces of electrolytes will also get removed, and hence it will cause coagulation of the colloidal particles. Okay, and then by heating and cooling, the colloidal salts also, it has been observed, it gets coagulated. Okay. Now see, we have seen the methods for coagulation of lyophobic salts. Now what about the lyophilic salts? We know lyophilic salts are more stable, isn't it? Because we have seen they are liquid loving. Okay, so when means their stability as such is due to main two reasons. One is the charge present on the particles, and second one is their solvation. Solvation means they get extensively or easily mixed with the dispersion medium. Fine. So by any means, if we remove these two factors, that is charge and the solvation, then the lyophilic salts can also be coagulated easily. Okay. Now if we want to remove charge, we can add simply some electrolyte. Okay, add some electrolyte. ठीक है, accordingly suitable electrolyte आप add करोगे तो charge तो neutralize हो जाएगा. And for solvation you should add by adding suitable solvent. ठीक है, अगर आपको solvation या वो means जो भी dispersed phase है लायोफिलिक सॉल्ट्स में डिस्पर्जन मीडियम के साथ अच्छे से सॉल्वेट या मिक्स नहीं हो, तो उसके लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, एक सूटेबल सॉल्वेंट ऐड करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, ये दोनों मेथड किस लिए हैं, टू रिमूव दीज टू फैक्टर्स. ठीक है, ये दोनों जो फैक्टर्स हैं विच आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द कोएगुलेशन, सॉरी फॉर द स्टेबिलिटी, दीज टू फैक्टर्स आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ lyophilic salts. Okay, now if you remove these two factors, fine, then the lyophilic salt will also get coagulated. For charge तो you might have understood suitable हमें oppositely charge electrolyte add करना है, but solvation का एक example I'll give you. One example let me give you. For example, a hydrophilic colloidal salt is there. ठीक है, in that if you add alcohol or acetone, ठीक है, हाइड्रोफिलिक सॉल है हमारे पास. हाइड्रोफिलिक सॉल में हम क्या ऐड करेंगे, हाइड्रोफिलिक कोलॉइडल सॉल इज देयर. व्हाट यू ऐड, अल्कोहल और एसीटोन. ठीक है, तो क्या होगा, इस केस में जो डिस्पर्स्ड फेस है दैट विल गेट डिहाइड्रेटेड. डिस्पर्स्ड फेस गेट्स डिहाइड्रेटेड. ठीक है, डिस्पर्स्ड फेस डिहाइड्रेट हो जाती है. अब उसकी वजह से इफ यू ऐड इन दिस स्मॉल इलेक्ट्रोलाइट प्लस स्मॉल इलेक्ट्रोलाइट, अगर आप थोड़ा भी इलेक्ट्रोलाइट ऐड करते हो तो क्या हो जाएगा, कोएगुलेशन ऑफ लायोफिलिक सॉल्ट. ओके, सो दिस इज वन एग्जाम्पल. इलेक्ट्रो चार्ज के लिए तो बहुत सिंपल है, आप अपोजिटली चार्ज कोई भी इलेक्ट्रोलाइट अकॉर्डिंगली ऐड कर दो. ठीक है, सॉल्वेशन का वन एग्जाम्पल आई हैव गिवन यू. फाइन, वी नो that lyophobic colloids are highly unstable, so they will get easily coagulated. So we can protect the lyophobic colloids from coagulation as well. Okay, now how can we protect the lyophobic colloids from coagulation? So we can protect the lyophobic colloids from coagulation by adding lyophilic colloids in them. ठीक है, now how does it work? See, this is a lyophobic particle. When you add lyophilic colloid in it, then what will happen? These lyophilic particles will get absorbed or form a protective layer over the surface of the lyophobic particle, because of which now these lyophobic particles cannot come into contact with the excess of electrolyte, and hence they will get protected from coagulation. Okay, now this process of or this phenomenon of protecting the lyophobic colloid, understand this definition, the phenomenon of protecting the lyophobic colloid from precipitation from precipitation from the excess of electrolyte by adding this lyophilic colloid is called protection of colloid. Okay, and this process, okay, this particles, lyophilic particles which we are adding to protect the lyophobic colloid are called as the protecting colloids. Is that clear? What is the protection of colloid? Protection definition, protection is the phenomenon. ठीक है, protection of lyophobic colloid is the phenomenon of preventing the coagulation or precipitation of lyophobic colloid from excess of electrolyte by adding lyophilic particles or lyophilic colloids in them. Okay, and this lyophilic particles which we are adding to prevent the coagulation or to protect the lyophobic particle are called as the protecting colloids. ठीक है, lyophilic particles को हम protecting colloids कहते हैं. Okay, now different colloids have different protecting power. Okay, different जो भी colloids होंगे उनका जो protecting power है कि वो किस level पे कितना protect कर सकते हैं lyophobic colloid को coagulation से, वो अलग होता है. And that is described by gold number. You just remember, smaller the value of gold number, greater will be its coagulating power. ठीक है, जितनी कम होगी गोल्ड नंबर की वैल्यू, ये वैल्यूज निकाली जाती हैं, ओके, उतना ज्यादा उसका कोएगुलेटिंग पावर होगा. फाइन, सो दिस इज प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ कोलॉइड्स. और बेसिकली हम किसको प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं? लायोफोबिक को, क्योंकि लायोफोबिक कोलॉइड्स आर हाईली अनस्टेबल. ठीक, नाउ लेट्स सी इमल्शंस. See, emulsions we have seen briefly earlier also. Emulsions are those colloidal solutions in which both dispersed phase as well as dispersion medium is liquid. They are also called as liquid-liquid colloidal solutions. Okay. Now see, simply if you mix dispersed phase and dispersion medium and shake it well, then means emulsions can be formed. But yeah, they are unstable. So you need to add some agent, ठीक है, a substance, an agent which will help to stabilize the emulsion, and that substance which you are adding to stabilize emulsion are those substances are known as emulsifiers, also emulsifying agents. Fine. Actually, you know, these emulsifiers or emulsifying agent, how do they work? Means the two layers of liquid, the interface, they act on the interface, these emulsifying agent. They reduce the interfacial tensions, जो surface tension होता है ना, दो surfaces के बीच में liquid के, they remove it, they reduce it, and hence the two liquids can mix appropriately, properly, and a proper colloidal sol can be formed. Okay, so emulsifiers or emulsifying agents play a big role in stabilizing the emulsions. Fine. Now there are two types of emulsions. Okay, first one is oil in water type. These type of emulsions are also called as, this oil in water type of emulsions are also called as aqueous emulsions. Okay, in this case oil will be the dispersed phase and water is the dispersion medium. Fine. The example, as you can see, the dispersion medium is water, that's why they are called as aqueous emulsions. Okay, now the example for these type of emulsions are milk, vanishing cream, etc. Like for example, milk. In milk, the soluble fats are present in water. Okay, and there is one substance known as casein which is acting as the emulsifying agent or emulsifier. Okay, then the second type of emulsion is water in oil emulsion. Now water in oil emulsions are also called as oily emulsions. Okay, in this case water is acting as the dispersed phase and oil is acting as the dispersion medium. As oil is dispersion medium, so oily emulsion. The example for them are cold cream, butter, etc. Fine. There are several emulsions which we are going through or which we are using in our day-to-day lives as well. So we come to the end of this chapter, surface chemistry. All the parts of the videos are available in the playlist. Go through them. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay, and go through the videos properly, because this is a very scoring chapter, simple yet scoring chapter. Fine, all the best.